Welcome to NTD News Today. I'm Kevin Hogan. Our top news is on the new debt limit deal. We examine how it will impact energy projects. It doesn't include sweeping changes, but it does address the permitting process. How could Washington's decisions about access to energy affect you? I wanted to learn more about this, so I spoke with a policy expert. Have a listen. Please welcome Nick Loris, Vice President of Public Policy at C3 Solutions. Nick, it's great to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
This debt deal is said to have provisions that speed up the permitting process for energy projects. What can we expect to happen here?
Yeah, there are some elements that surely we should be excited about. There are elements of Representative Garrett Graves' Builder Act that would clarify and speed up some of the elements of the National Environmental Policy Act, which has been a very cumbersome and problematic law that has hurt a number of energy projects, not just fossil fuels, but clean energy projects. And so this bill would modernize some of those elements of NEPA. At the same time, I think there are a number of frustrations that the permitting processes and much needed reforms don't nearly go far enough to actually fix the systemic problems that we have with our permitting problems, because it's really hard to build anything in the United States, not just energy projects, but everything from housing to highways. And to have wholesome, comprehensive permitting reform, we need to go much further, and essential for energy. If we want affordable, reliable power, and if we want to make the emissions reductions that we need, permitting reform is at the foremost problems that we need to fix. And while this bill does make some important provisions, it doesn't go nearly as far as it should.
So there are two types of energy projects, green and then also conventional fuels. What needs to happen in terms of both of these here?
Yeah, the nice thing is the fix should fix them all. And one of the biggest challenges is to fix what's known as judicial review, and that is the fact that both clean energy projects and conventional projects get held up for years in the courts. If you look at something like the Keystone XL pipeline, that was initially proposed back in 2008, and here we are more than 15 years later, and we don't have a pipeline. The same has been said for transmission projects, for renewable projects, as well as for advanced modular nuclear reactors. All of these are facing a lot of the same problems, and that is onerously long permitting processes and then being held up years in the courts. So if there is an opportunity to take a second swing at permitting reform, and I think there should be from policymakers on both sides of the aisle, they really need to fix this aspect of judicial review and trying to fix why activists shouldn't be able to hold up these projects for years in court.
So, Nick, you talk about this judicial review. What's going to happen to the American grid if all these conventional power generations are retiring due to this push for green energy, and then these new clean energy projects are being held up in court?
That's one of the biggest concerns, is the affordability and reliability of energy prices. And if there's this huge push for electrification through government regulations and subsidies, if we don't have the ability to actually expand supply and build new energy infrastructure, everything from new power generating sources to new transmission lines, it's only going to put more strain on the grid. And you have a number of independent agencies already warning that the grid is already strained. And if we can't build here in the United States, it only puts consumers more at risk. Again, not just from an energy price standpoint, but also from the lights going out, for days at a time.
Yes, and of course there's a government watchdog that warned of a higher risk of increased brownouts and blackouts this summer because of this push for green energy when these conventional fuels are retiring. Nick Loris, Vice President of Public Policy at C3 Solutions, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.